Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're a BA English student under MG University, this is the place to get clear chapter by chapter guidance for your syllabus. Today, we are starting with a very famous romantic ballad, Lochinvar, written by Sir Walter Scott. So, Lochinvar is a narrative poem taken from Sir Walter Scott's Marmion, which was published in 1808. It tells the thrilling story of a brave and romantic knight, young Lochinvar, who rides alone and uninvited to the wedding of his beloved Ellen. Lochinvar arrives just in time, dances with her, and then, before anyone can stop him, sweeps her away on horseback. The poem blends romance, adventure, and heroism, capturing the excitement of love that defies obstacles. Now, let's discuss about the author, Sir Walter Scott. Sir Walter Scott was a Scottish poet, novelist, and historian, famous for bringing Scotland's history and legends to life. He is often called the founder of the historical novel in English. His works include famous novels like Ivanhoe and Rob Roy, and poems like The Lady of the Lake and Lochinvar. Lochinvar is an extract from Marmion appearing in Canto 5. Scott's writing blends romance, adventure, and vivid descriptions, making him one of the most popular authors of 19th century. So, what are knights? Before plunging into the poem, we have to be familiar with the term knight. Knights were warriors of the medieval period who followed the god of chivalry, a word that stands for loyalty, honor, bravery, and service to the king and people. They fought in battles, protected the weak, and were often romanticized as noble heroes in literature and legends. Some of the examples of knights include King Arthur, Sir Gawain, Sir Lancelot, etc. If you have got more names, please do comment. Michael de Cervantes, who was a Spanish writer, has written a text called Don Quixote, which is actually a satire of chivalry. Now, let's just read out the poem once. Lochinvar. O young Lochinvar is come out of the west. Through all the wide border, his steed was the best. And save his good broadsword, he weapons had none. He rode all unarmed, and he rode all alone. So faithful in love, and so dauntless in war. There never was knight like the young Lochinvar. He stayed not for brake, and he stopped not for stone. He swam the Esk river, where ford there was none. But he alighted at Netherby gate. The bride had consented. The gallant came late. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. So boldly he entered the Netherby hall among the bridesmen and kinsmen and brothers and all. Then spoke the bride's father, his hand on his sword, for the poor craven bridegroom said never a word. Or come here in peace here, or come here in war, or to dance at our bridal, young Lord Lochinvar. I long wooed your daughter, my suit you denied. Love swells like the Solway, but ebbs like its tide. And now I am come, with this lost love of mine, to lead but one measure, drink one cup of wine. There are maidens in Scotland, more lovely by far, that would gladly be bride to the young Lochinvar. The bride kissed the goblet. The knight took it up. He quaffed off the wine and he threw down the cup. She looked down to blush and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand. Oh, her mother could bar. Now tread be a measure, said young Lochinvar. So stately his form, and so lovely her face, that never a heart such a galliated grace. While her mother did fret, and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood tangling his bonnet and blew, and the bride maidens whispered, it were better by far to have matched our fair cousin with young Lochinvar. One touch to her hand, and one word in her ear. When they reached the hall door, and the charger stood near, so light to the croup the fair lady he swung, so light to the saddle before her he sprung. She is won, we are gone, over bank, bush, and scar. They'll have fleet steeds that follow, quoth young Lochinvar. There was mounting among Grames of the Netherby clan. Fosters, Fenwicks, and Miss Graves they rode and they ran. There was racing and chasing in Canterbury Lane, but the lost bride of Netherby never did they see. So daring in love and so dauntless in war. Have you ever heard of gallant like young Lochinvar? Now, let's discuss the poem line by line. The first stanza goes like this. O young Lochinvar is come out of the west, through all the wide border his steed was the best, and save his good broadsword he weapons had none. He rode all unarmed and he rode all alone, so faithful in love and so dauntless in war. There never was knight like the young Lochinvar. So here we could see that the young Lochinvar has come all the way from the west and across the border. So which border is being referred to here? Scottish English border. So across all the border, his horse was the best. No other horse could meet its match its charisma and its strength. So broadsword means a sword without very wide blade, and he only had one sword and nothing else. No other big machineries or knives or anything. So he had no other weapons, and hence he is unarmed, meaning that he doesn't have any gods or anyone protecting. He's all alone. So in short, he was all alone without any grand weapons, riding on his steed or horse. So the next line describes how faithful or loyal he is when it comes to his lady love. And similarly, he is also very much brave in war, so faithful or committed in love, and so fearless or dauntless in war. The stanza ends by saying that there was no other knight as bright and brave and faithful as Lochinvar. So basically, this stanza gives an overview about the knight Lochinvar. Coming to second stanza, he stayed not for break and he stopped not for stone. He swam the Esk river where ford there was none. But he alighted at Netherby gate. The bride had consented. The gallant came late, for a laggard in love and tested in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. So Lochinvar did not slow down for thickets of bushes, and he did not stop because of rocks or rough ground. So this basically emphasizes on Lochinvar's determination and speed on his journey. So here Scott is actually focusing on to Lochinvar's unstoppable determination. Like he is so intent on reaching Ellen, his lady love, that no natural obstacle can delay him. It also built the image of a heroic, almost like a Superman, superhuman ride through dangerous landscapes, adding to the romantic adventure tone of the ballad. He swam the Esk River where ford there was none, which means that Lochinvar crosses the river Esk, even though there is no shallow crossing point or ford, showing that he is actually willing to take dangerous or uneven routes. This acts as a symbol of his courage and determination that nothing will stop him. But he alighted at Netherby gate. The bride had consented. The gallant came late. So by the time he reaches the gate of Netherby Hall, what happened? The Ellen has already agreed to marry other man. Lochinvar's arrival is kinda late to stop the formal consent. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. So this is basically about the man who is going to marry Ellen, a man who is laggard or foolish in love and dastard or cowardly in battle is going to marry Lochinvar's Ellen. The phrase laggard in love versus dastard in war contracts with Lochinvar, who is actually faithful in love and dauntless in war, which is actually given in the in first stanza, which it also sets up the idea that Ellen is marrying someone inferior in war. So this section basically builds a tension in the narrative. We now know that Lochinvar's mission has urgency and emotional stakes. So boldly he entered the Netherby hall, among bridesmen and kinsmen and brothers and all. Then spoke the bride's father, his hand on the sword. For the poor craven bridegroom never said a word. Or come here in peace, or come here in war, or to dance at your bridal, young Lord Lochinvar. So Lochinvar walks fearlessly into the wedding hall. So here boldly shows Lochinvar's unshaken confidence that he walks into what could be a dangerous situation without any kind of hesitation among bridesmen and kinsmen and brothers and all. So he is here surrounded by the bride's friends, relatives, and brothers, people who are all loyal to the family and potentially hostile to him. Then spoke the bride's father, his hand on his sword. So the father, suspicious of Lochinvar's sudden appearance, grips his sword or he touches his sword as if ready for a fight if needed. This also indicates that Lochinvar is not welcome there. So for the poor craven bridegroom said never a word. So the timid, cowardly, or foolish group, he stays silent, not confronting Lochinvar. Here, craven means cowardly, and the groom basically didn't say a word again, which kind of reasserts how unworthy is he when compared to the brave Lochinvar. Oh, come here in peace here, or come here in war, or to dance at your bridal, young Lord Lochinvar. So here, Ellen's father speaks. He demands to know if Lochinvar has come peacefully, or as an enemy, or simply to join.
the dancing section of the wedding. So the father's question is formal yet challenging, like a knight's demand for someone to declare their intentions before entering a castle or something. So fitting the medieval ballads tone. So this is the confrontation formed in the narrative, the moment before Lochinvar must either back down or act. I long wooed your daughter, my suit you denied. Love swells like the Solway, but ebbs like its tide. And now am come with this lost love of mine, to live but one measure, drink one cup of wine. There are maidens in Scotland, more lovely by far, that would gladly be bride to the young Lochinvar. So what does it mean by saying I love both your daughter, my suitor denied? So Lochinvar here is speaking to the bride's father. He says that he had long tried to woo or win the daughter's hand in marriage, but often his proposal or suit was refused. Love swells like the Solway, but ebbs like its tide. So here he is comparing his love to the Solway Frith, which is an estuary or a part of a river. So Solway Frith is an estuary between England and Scotland. So like the water in that estuary, which rises and falls with the tide, love too can rise passionately, but also fade away. Here, he's actually being a bit sly, like suggesting that since they rejected him, his love has ebbed or faded. And now I'm come with the lost love of mine. So now, since the romance is supposedly over, he has come only with the remains of that lost love. He pretends he's pretending that he has moved on to lead but one measure, drink one cup of wine. So he says that he just wants to dance once, lead one measure in the dance, and share a single drink at the wedding feast. So this actually appears polite, but the audience actually knows Lochinvar is not here for a small talk. It's actually a cover for his true intention. What is his true intention? It's actually to run away with the bride. So till now, Lochinvar actually acts as he has moved on, and what exists is the remnants of his lost love. He pretends he's only there to have a drink and maybe one measure in dance, nothing more. He also adds that there are maidens in Scotland, more lovely by far, that would gladly be bride to the young Lochinvar. So he's saying that there are many other women in Scotland who are even lovelier or prettier than the bride Ellen. And he brags that many women would gladly marry him. So this actually adds a touch of arrogance and is, meant to make the family actually drop their guard. The bride kissed the goblet, the knight took it up. He quaffed up the wine and he threw down the cup. She looked down to blush and she looked up to sigh, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. He took her soft hand, oh, her mother could bear. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochinvar. So at the wedding feast, the bride politely drinks from a wine goblet or a glass, which is actually a custom at the wedding feasts. And young Lochinvar here, though he is not the groom, he takes the same goblet right after her. So Lochinvar here is taking a sip from the same glass used by Ellen. So this subtly shows intimacy and boldness, since drinking from the same cup in that era could be considered personal or even romantic. And then he quaffed off the one. So Lochinvar doesn't just sip; he quaffs, meaning he drinks in one confident gulp. Then he throws the cup aside, a dramatic gesture that reflects his bold, fearless, or maybe his almost rebellious nature. And what does or how does Ellen respond to this? Respond to this. So Ellen, she looked down to blush and looked up to sigh. So the bride reacts with mixed emotions, like her knight has come very bravely through. Though he acts as he has moved on, the very next gesture of gulping from the glass he used, it's pretty sure that he has something in mind, that he has come to take her with him. So she blushes and looks up with sigh. Looks down to blush means shyness or embarrassment at Lochinvar's did, and looking up to sigh shows a sense of longing or emotional turmoil, with a smile on her lips and a tear in her eye. So this is a beautiful, very beautiful paradox. So her smile indicates her joy, and her tear suggests sadness or regret. So it captures her inner conflict. So she's very much happy to see Lochinvar on one hand, but also sorrowful about her current situation on other hand.
So he took her soft hand, her mother could bar. So without hesitation, Lochinvar, takes her hand before her mother could intervene or stop them. So this adds to the tension and pace. Lochinvar is acting very decisively, showing he's not afraid of social barriers. Now tread we a measure, said young Lochinvar. So tread a measure means let's dance. So Lochinvar invites her to dance right there in the middle of her own wedding celebration. A daring, almost kind of scandalous act that shows his confidence and his determination to connect with her. So here Lochinvar swiftly takes bride's hands and starts to dance before her mother could stop them. So stately his form, and so lovely her face, that never a heart such a gallia did grace. While her mother did fret, and her father did fume, and the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and plume, and the bride maidens whispered, it were better by far to have marched up her fair cousin with young Lochinvar. So Lochinvar is very much stately in his form. Stately means he is tall, confident, and noble, while the bride is extremely beautiful. So here the narrator is highlighting their perfect pairing in terms of both grace and attractiveness. That never a hall such a galliard did grace. So a galliard is a kind of dance popular during the 16th and 17th centuries. So no hall had ever seen such a splendid dancing pair. Their dance is so captivating that it surpasses anything seen before. So when Lochinvar and Ellen made a lovely pair at dance, quite a feast for the eyes. The bride's parents were upset. Her mother did fret and her father did fume. Her mother was worried and her father was in angry. So their expression or reaction to the dance suggests that they are likely disapprove Lochinvar's presence and fear that his charm might disrupt the or marriage ceremonies as arranged. And the bridegroom stood dangling his bonnet and plume. So, what does the bridegroom do? The man who is supposed to marry her. So he is very much. He acts awkward, and he was nervously holding his hat with a feather. That's called plume, and this actually makes groom look unimpressive compared to Lochinvar, further highlighting the huge difference that's there between them. So, and the bride maidens whispered, it were better by far to have marched our fair cousin with young Lochinvar. Here, the bridesmaids are gossiping that it would have been better if their cousin, that is the bride Ellen, had married Lochinvar instead. So this shows not even the crowd. It shows that not only they both Ellen and Lochinvar, but also crowd wants them to be together. That they prefer Lochinvar to the group, who is nothing but laggard in love and tested in what. One touch to her hand and one word in her ear. When they reached the hall door and the charger stood near, so light to the croup the fair lady he swung, so light to the saddle before her he sprung. She is won, we are gone, over bank, bush, and scar. They'll have fleet steeds that follow, quoth young Lochinvar. So one touch to her hand and one word in her ear. Ear. What does it mean? So Lochinvar here takes the bride's hand and whispers something in her ear, probably convincing her to live with him. And soon they reach the hall door, when they reached the hall door and the charger stood near. So as soon as they reached the door, Lochinvar's horse or the charger was already there waiting for a quick escape. So light to the croup, the fair lady he swung. So the croup is the rear part of house saddle. So Lochinvar quickly and very skillfully swings the lady onto it. So so light to the saddle before her he sprang. So, in a single agile move, Lochinvar mounts the horse, taking position in front of her. And, she is won. So, we are gone over bank, bush, and score. What does score mean? Score means steep, rocky slope. So, Lochinvar here is declaring very triumphantly that he has won her. And they gallop away across banks, bushes, and rush away. So, they'll have fleet steeds that follow, quoth young Lochinvar. So, he acknowledges that the people chasing them will need very fast horses to catch them. So quote is actually an old-fashioned word for said. So what happened is that Lochinvar whispers something to Ellen, takes her hand swiftly, and as they reach the door, his horse was already waiting there. He lifts her onto the horse and jumps in front. So they escapes finally. They ride swiftly over hills and lands, and he boasts that they will need fast horses to catch them. There were mounting among Grims of the Netherby clan, Fosters, Fanwicks, and Musgraves. They rode and they ran. There was racing and chasing on Canopy Lane, but the lost pride of Netherby never did they see. So daring in love and so dauntless in war. Have you ever heard of Garan like young Lochinvar? There was mounting among Grims of Netherby clan. So members of the Grim family were getting onto their horses, preparing to ride. Fosters, Fenwicks, and Musgraves, they rode and they ran. So other families, these are actually family names. So the Fosters, Fenwicks, and Musgraves, all of them rode their horses and raced after Lochinvar to catch both of them. These are actually clan or family names, listing them gives the scenes a very grand scale, like many people are chasing them, not just one angry man, like not only the bride's parents are after them, but the whole the families of who came to attend the wedding are after them. So there was racing and chasing in Canobili. So there was a fast chasing across this place called Canobili. Lee means a meadow or open land. And but the lost bride of Netherby, never did they see, but they never found out or caught the bride. She was gone and not seen again. So daring in love and so dauntless in war. So Lochinvar is both bold in love and fearless in battle, in opposition to the bridegroom, who was what? A laggard in love and dastard in war. Have you ever heard of Galen like young Lochinvar? Here, the speaker asks the rhetorical question to the listener. Have you ever heard of brave, handsome, or maybe a greater hero than the young Lochinvar itself? In short, the poem actually tells a story of a brave knight named Lochinvar. He rides off from the west to reach a wedding of whom Ellen, his lady love. Her family did not approve of her relationship with Lochinvar, so she is marrying someone else, and Lochinvar arrives just in time, dances with the bride, and together they escape, leaving everyone shocked and unable to stop them.
Now let's look at the themes that appear in the poem: love and chivalry, freedom versus duty, and adventure and heroism. So, this is all about the poem. If you have got any doubts, please feel free to raise it in the comment section and also give feedback. It means a lot. Thank you.